An AEW star's contract has officially ended, and this person is no longer with the company. It is very shocking to me. I thought this individual would have been pushed. They came from WWE, which makes it even crazier because I thought for sure, okay, didn't get an opportunity there. AEW is going to take care of business. That didn't happen. We're going to talk about that. Plus, Alicia Fox, TNA, what's going on there? And yes, we are going to talk about this huge debate surrounding Mercedes Mone and creative control. It's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. All right, let's just get right into it with Mercedes Mone. I think this has become a very interesting talking point on social media because a lot of people have believed that Mercedes Mone is granted creative control. She doesn't make it easier, by the way, because she's done interviews and talked about having creative control in AEW. However, Fightful Select has actually come out and really just, they are refuting this report entirely. Like, they are refuting these claims. Like, they are saying that basically this isn't the case with Mercedes Mone. She is not being given creative control. Basically, according to Fightful, sources within AEW and New Japan have actually denied that this type of thing has ever happened. They said they've never heard of her having creative control. This basically explaining, for them to explain why Mercedes hasn't even had a, loss in the company. AEW says it's due to a booking strategy, not contractual demands. She actually hasn't turned down losing because losing hasn't even been broached. Both companies had plans to push her heavily. Listen, here's the thing, man. I'm going to say this. Some people will like it. Some people will disagree. But I think deep down inside, if Mercedes Mone was having creative control, sources within AEW are not going to admit to that because they know this is a touchy subject, especially in the IWC. Now, with that being said, I do want to point it out. I think Mercedes Mone having creative control or not doesn't really change the fact that I think Mercedes Mone in AEW has been relatively poopy. I don't think it's been really good booking. And I know that's going to bother some people, but I just think at this point in time, she's holding the TBS championship. But what has she really done of any significance? At this time, I don't think there's been anything. Now, it's May 2nd, 2025. Maybe this will lead to something bigger and better for Mercedes. Maybe there will be some very good programs for Mercedes. But at this point, I am not trying to get my hopes up because, to be honest with you, so far I haven't really enjoyed it. So me personally, I'm intrigued to see where this goes with Mercedes. Creative control or not, I don't think it really matters. I haven't really enjoyed particularly what has happened here. However, I am patient. I will see what happens. And hopefully we all become happy. Let's talk about Alicia Fox. She is in TNA. And obviously a lot of people have been wondering what the hell is going on here because it was really strange, especially last night on TNA with Robert Stone from WWE. That was kind of an interesting thing. She is coming into TNA as an authority figure. And then she decided to put herself in the Knockouts World Championship picture against Masha Slamovich at TNA Under Siege. Now, it sounds like they might be headed towards this like storyline where creatively or authority-wise things could be changing, right? Between Santino Marella and then, of course, Victoria Crawford, formerly known as Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox, since she's left WWE, she did a couple things on the indies. She's done a couple things here and there. She really hasn't been involved in pro wrestling the way a lot of people thought she might be. So the fact that she's coming to TNA, there is this belief that she has signed with a company. There is going to be a role for her. This is going to be a storyline, which I think is great. I think for Alicia Fox, she comes from a different era in WWE where pro wrestling didn't matter. We'll see how good she is in the ring when she goes up against Masha Slamovich because Masha is obviously a very, very talented in-ring person. But the one thing I will say is Alicia Fox, or Victoria Crawford, however you want to call her, I think she is a very good person for character work, and I think she will fit in fine with TNA. I'm more intrigued to see what this actually leads to, but the fact that she finally signed with the company and actually has a role, it's pretty sweet. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a good thing. She came from the Divas era of WWE. And TNA has lost a lot of people, especially in the Knockouts division. So I do think you have to mention that. I think you have to acknowledge the fact that there is a shortage of women. They have Indy Hartwell, and now they have Victoria Crawford, I want to see what they do. I want to see how this turns into a storyline and how it progresses, especially if you're looking at authority figure versus authority figure. You know, Robert Stone coming from WWE being involved here, I thought was a really interesting thing. But with her becoming the deputy director of authority, it's like, okay, what's this? What are we doing here? Why was Robert Stone involved? And that's what I want to see. I think that's the most important thing here, is that they figure out a way to make this work. Now, the only other point that I do want to make when it comes to Victoria Crawford being in this position is that TNA, having her show up and go up against Masha Slamovich, I think it's very fair to say she's probably not going to beat Masha for the belt. Then what's next? In the meantime, TNA should be figuring out who is that person to take the belt from Masha Slamovich. I'm not necessarily sure at this point, and that's where I kind of get a little bit more intrigued. So definitely wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, EJ Nduka is gone from AEW. This is a big bummer for me, because if you've watched this channel, especially years and years and years ago, I have talked about this guy as being with tons and tons of potential. Like, I think this guy is going to have... He should be somebody that finds a lot of success in the world of professional wrestling. He was signed to NXT, was part of the Performance Center, didn't really get much of an opportunity, but there was a lot of good things being said about him. Now, he obviously has a great look, but talking about, you know, his abilities in the ring and work ethic and stuff like that, there was a lot of positive things being said about EJ Nduka. You guys might remember in NXT when he was there, he was known as Ezra Judge. Then he goes to MLW, and when he went to MLW, did some cool stuff there, but obviously MLW is smaller. Not a big deal. He was getting his reps in, and then it came out that there was talks that WWE or AEW would be bringing him in. And even at the time, I remember talking about it, saying, guys, both companies, if you're going to do something with him, like if you use him, you're going to do great things with him. He signs with AEW and Ring of Honor, and it all falls flat. Like, he came out very, very receptive to the idea of joining AEW and having somebody who supports him, and obviously Tony Khan. I swear, I think I've only seen him on AEW programming like a handful of times. And the one thing I remember most was with him, West Side Gun, Swerve Strickland, and Prince Nana. And this was when Swerve was world champion. And then nothing. And so the fact that we haven't seen EJ Nduka in a role with AEW, now his contract has ended, it is so shocking to me. And I think what really bothers me most is, like, this guy has a good look. He has everything that WWE and AEW look for. He can wrestle. He can do character work. He's got the look. He's marketable. Like, this is like the standards of pro wrestling. If you can do these things, you're typically going to be successful. Both companies didn't do anything with him. So I'm very bothered that, one, WWE didn't recognize it at the time, and two, I'm disappointed that AEW did nothing with him. I don't know. Maybe NXT could benefit from him today. Maybe his thoughts towards WWE and NXT has changed, but I really don't know what's next. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching.